Trollord Games. Join the fray.
I thought that was your everyday uniform attire.
Well, I have some underwear like that, actually. Oh, hey, we're live. Hey. All right. Howdy, everybody.
How's it going on? All right, Tim. Tim ended our conversation via Skype.
Did he really?
Quite honorably. So that's
quite honorably.
Yeah.
What's up, Kothar? Hey, Epi.
How's it going, everybody? This is WTLG or not, or however you want to look at it. I don't know if we're carrying that over from the morning show or not, but I think we're going to because I like it. I like how it sounds, so we're just going to do that from.
You like the graphic I made? Just admit it.
Do what?
You like that graphic I made? It's badass.
Dude, the best graphic you've made so far is the one that just says Trollord Games on the top. I absolutely love that graphic. In fact, it's the one you got up right now. It's absolutely simple, beautiful.
Yeah, it is simple. I like that. They get kind of crazy sometimes with artwork.
Yeah, my brain can't. I watch some of these Twitch streams, and there's so much going on the screen. And my brain's like, I'm done with all this. I got to move on to the next. Just watch the people, jibber jabber, or whatever. But we are here today with a whole bunch of folks from Frog God Games. We've got Laramie, Ken, and Michael.
Good afternoon.
And
Tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into this stream and let people kind of wander in.
Yeah.
Well, I am Ken Spencer. I'm a partner at Frog God Games and a writer. There, I have been put in charge of the Castles and Crusades project at Frog God Games. And I'm doing most of the management work for it, but a lot of the actual in the trenches grunt work conversion is being done by Laramie.
Rosa.
With you.
Yeah, so my name's Laramie Wall. Castles and Crusades has been my home game for a while, and as a employee at Frog God Games, that led to some really fun conversations. I've been running Castles and Crusades at Gamehole for the last couple of years. And I am happy that now I get to do that with a bit of more of a smile on Zach's face as I'm starting to convert some of our stuff to Castles and Crusades for us. So,
excellent.
Cool. Well, I'm Michael Gross. I'm development manager at Frog God Games. I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff like Chuck does for you guys, I guess. I discovered Trollord Games and Castles and Crusades thanks to some guy named Gary Gygax on the old N-World forums when I was experiencing DM burnout in the 3E era. And he and Peter Bradley steered me towards Trollord Games and Castles and Crusades. I bought the first printing of the Player's Handbook, which is on the shelf over there to this day. And Castles and Crusades is just a great system. It's an awesome Rosetta Stone for bringing any and almost every other system out there to your gaming table, whether you're playing CNC or not. But it's a terrific system, and I'm looking forward to seeing our stuff at Frog God come out for what's coming up in Castles and Crusades.
It's funny you talk about DM fatigue from 3rd edition. I remember another one of your compadres, Casey Christopherson, a good friend of mine. He called me at some point. CNC, we may have been on 2nd printing. I don't know, probably still 1st, but it was pretty early on. He called me. He said, "Dude, I'm gonna have to switch to CNC." Because I can't remember what he said, but like 25 books and a laptop in front of me to run this 3rd edition game. I can't do this anymore. It was really funny. Because it did get D20, great game. It really was a great game. But that OGL allowed, so much material to come out that none of us could keep up with it. It was just too much. You had to start restricting what you would allow at the table because there were so many. I think it's 147 published. We'd have to ask Bill. He'd probably remember better than me, but I think it was 147 active publishers doing D20 stuff at the height, which was wow. That was insane. It was absolutely insane.
Oh yeah, and I'll happily confess at Gen Con running when we first started doing Northland Saga at Frog God Games and Pathfinder, hauling all those hardbounds around across the con from here to there to run events. I actually blew a knee out on the stairs.
Oh, wow.
Because I was carrying such a huge load.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. I had a 3x3 wooden crate I used to lug to friends' houses when I would run games. And I think by 2003 or 2004, it broke.
That's kind of a metaphor for the entire the whole D20 market.
Yes, it is.
I remember I've told this story 1,000 times, but I remember a distributor out of Canada. I was talking to him after the collapse happened in D20. He had 3 of the long dumpsters hauled up into his parking lot, and he just threw all of his D20 stuff into it because he couldn't move it, and it was just sitting there taking up space.
Let me flip that coin over. This is actually how I got a lot of the second edition stuff I didn't have. Everybody was jumping on to third edition in the early 2000s. Sure, I'll take your Encyclopedia Magica. I'd love to have, I got so much great stuff. Everybody's pitching it, man. I'm in. Let's go.
That's the way to do it. You wait for the changeover, then you jump in and take it.
You buy it.
This was great.
You can
I
find
am a
some
new
good.
convert.
Wait, I was just going to say that you can scoop in.
Oh, I'm a new convert.
Go ahead, sir.
Sorry, all my video panels are frozen except for Mike, so I've got no clues as to when everyone's going to be talking.
No worries.
Except for Mike.
Oh,
Lord.
No,
Okay.
Mike, you're
Continue.
special.
I am.
There you go. But
I'm ready
anyways,
from Comcast.
Even my video is frozen.
since
you
we're all
I
frozen-
was going to say,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I'm a new convert to Castles and Crusades. About 4 months ago, Zach Glazer called me up and he said, "Hey, what do you know about Castles and Crusades?" And I said, "Well, I know they've got a very nice booth. They put out great stuff at Troll Lord Games, and that's about it." And he said, "Great. Learn everything you can about it. Learn the system, then come back to me." So I was a freelancer in this industry for a long time. And when you're a freelancer, you take whatever job you can get. And there were many times where I contacted a company and sent them a prospectus or a CV or a query. And they're like, "Great, can you write this for our, can you give me 5,000 words on some sort of game system?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure, I can," as soon as I learn it. So I quickly learned Castles and Crusades, started running it for my home group, and entirely fell in love with it. Not even thinking about looking back. My home group, we all just said, "Okay, this is our system from now on. We're good. Let's go forward from here." And then that's led to my position at Frog God. And I got to say, it's one of the smoothest, cleanest fantasy RPG systems I've played in 40 some odd years of gaming.
That's
Really?
very nice of you to say. I'll let Davis and Mac know, because really that is one of the things that they were shooting for, to make it very simple. One of the funniest questions I've fielded since the very, very beginning is, so many people come over from Dungeons and Dragons, and they always ask me, what is this? Does this play like second edition, or does this play like third edition, or whatever? And really, the system, it uses the Open Gaming License. For those out there who don't know, Castles and Crusades it's an OGL system, so it uses everything that you're already familiar with: the same races, classes, attributes, monsters, all that stuff. You're already familiar with the game, you just don't know it. It's just got an insanely easy to learn and easy to play. Once you've kind of got into the habit of it, of using the Siege engine, it's very, very, very smooth. And I was even a late comer to it. I'm an AD&D guy, and we released Castles and Crusades in 04 or 05, and I didn't switch my game over until 06, until Mac and Davis both said, "Listen, we're not going to sit in your game anymore until you give up AD&D at least
Wow.
for a few." Oh yeah, no, they were both. They said, "You've got to run at least 2 or 3 games in CNC, and then we'll switch back to AD&D. If you don't like it, that's fine." But I switched, and I never looked back, because it gave me everything that AD&D gave me.
That's crazy.
And then I had already
That's
favorited into it.
That is a really cool story that I've never heard. That's interesting.
Yeah.
You want to see some blind
Well, and
pandering?
for me,
Now you're going to make me go open one.
Yeah, you know what? We all should have one, actually. I've got my 0 ones in the refrigerator.
My wife's box is 5 feet to my left.
There you go. I'm fixing to go get one. Ken, you were about to say something?
for me, I came in with the BX back in the day, the red box, and Second Ed was possibly one of my favorite versions of D&D. And coming from that sort of background into Castles and Crusades and looking at it, especially the feel of the art, The equipment list, the general feel of it, it harkens for me back to a day where fantasy role playing was more based out of history than out of and mythology than out of sort of random stuff pulled from here and there. It has a very grounded feel to it, which is one of the things that attracts me to it. As a writer also, and not just as a person who likes to play games, but as a writer and creator, I'm looking forward to doing more work in Castles and Crusades and with the Siege Engine.
Well, I got to say, so just to let folks know who may not, who have just kind of wandered in, these gentlemen who have joined me and Chuck today are all from Frog God Games. And Frog God Games has been around forever. Bill Webb started the company. When did y'all officially start? Because Necromancer Games morphed into Frog God. Like, is it 03 or 04?
I think Necromancer was around there, and Frog God was 06-ish.
Something like that.
Frog God was 2012. Or between
Yeah.
2010 and 2012. 2010 to 2012 was the morph.
When it actually switched over.
Yeah,
Well, I've known Bill Webb. Troller Games began in the year 2000. We started in 1999, launched at 2000 at Gen Con, and I believe Frog God Games did as well. We met Bill and Clark, and Bill and I started hanging out at every convention we went to, became great friends, still are great friends, and everywhere we go. So I got to say, you guys coming over and joining the Troll Lord table with CNC is absolutely fantastic news for me. It's just like this. Can I use the word again, Chuck? It's like this synergy.
I heard that like 15 times in a staff meeting. I thought Davis was going to kill you.
Yeah. I have been banned from using that word because I've been using it a lot. Oh, that's a nice word. But it's very cool to see, I don't know, the two of the oldest RPG publishing companies out there, and, come together again. And I don't know if many realize this, but Necromancer Games, Troll Lords, we published Necromancer for a little while. Yep. So we've done this before. It's like bringing it all home.
Oh yeah, that's great. It's the way it should be. I love the synergy.
well,
of it
we
all.
will
It's
be
great.
starting off. We'll be starting our synergistic partnership with Heresy of Rot and Fungus God on Indiegogo coming up soon. It'll be our first set of adventures, a monster double feature that is going to have Castles and Crusades versions as well as 5e and OSE. And I believe, Chuck, you have the link of that you can put up for
I
us
just dropped it in there just now.
to sign up for the Indiegogo.
Excellent.
Since I see one of the questions is, what is the first planned release? That's it. Heresy of Rot.
So this is going to be an awesome.
Those are both by.
Those are going to be an awesome Halloween double feature. Levi Combs is bringing us the Heresy of Rot, which is going to be a really great haunted, like, mansion area in the middle of nowhere. Your group comes upon it. I personally think that writing both horror and a mystery are two of the harder things to write in gaming, and the dude nailed it. I forget that he co-wrote it with I can't remember John's last name, but the two of them put this thing together. It's amazing. The other half of your drive-in double feature is the Fungus God from Outer Space by, as mentioned, Casey Christopherson. And in Casey's own words, it is a giant mushroom kaiju from outer space that you get to fight. What else do you need in a game? This is going to be amazing.
I actually didn't know Casey was writing one of these first releases for you guys for the first CNC. I love Casey's stuff. Of course, he's done the Haunted Highlands for us. And there's a little known module he did for us. We have yet to get it out for Castles and Crusades called Blood Royal that he did way back in the day. It is a fantastic adventure, an absolutely fantastic adventure.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right.
They're two fun horror things in completely different veins. One of them is an absolute crazy monster from outer space story. One of them is dark and gritty and gross, and they're both just going to be awesome.
I know gross.
I had a talk with him. Yes, you do. I was talking to him about 2 weeks ago about it. Man, for like 3 hours. He was excited. Casey was
It's great, man.
Oh, Casey? Yeah.
Look at this. This is some crazy comments. Castle check
And
off.
coming up
Okay.
after that, we've got a couple of big adventures, and we aren't certain which ones are going to be next because of the vagaries of production. But one of them is we are bringing the Northland Saga back, and we're bringing it into Castles and Crusades, as well as 5e and OSE, and a set of 2 adventures plus a guide to the Northlands for those of you who are brand new to what, in my humble opinion, is probably the greatest Viking themed fantasy setting the world has ever known.
I
Michael's
remember
looking at me like you said that with a.
I remember Northlands. I think we printed those for a while. There's like 9 of them, isn't it? Or 7? There's quite a few, isn't it?
The original run was 4 adventures, and then we did the Northland Saga Complete, which kicked it up to a 12 adventure series plus a setting. And then I've written a few since then. Terror at Wolf's Head being the most recent one, because I wanted a book with a giant spider on the cover because I love spiders.
There you go.
Steve, I got a question from Lady Jen
Okay.
Glacier.
How's
Anyway,
it going, Jen?
yeah, Jen, she wants to know if the Heart of Glass is in 5e. I don't think it is it?
It is not. No, we have not converted the Heart of Glass into 5e.
But it is in
We need to
CNC.
get that. Yes, it is.
Putting that out
We
there,
need to-
Jen.
We need to continue with those conversions.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, with all of the absolutely insane, and Chuck is living this whirlwind, attention to CNC has been reaping for the past 6 months. That 5e is kind of, I don't want to say it's fallen off the roster, but it's kind of fallen off the roster. We've really shifted and focused, and throwing in all the other supply side problems that we've got with, paper and whatnot. It's been CNC's just taking the air out of the room, which is good. And this announcement from Frog God is absolutely fantastic. I mean, and I got to say, for those of you who don't know, and a lot of you guys attending today know this, Frog God and before them Necromancer made the best adventure modules, period. They fantastic adventure modules, way back and up to date. You can tell that it has spilled over from their tables into what they publish. I mean, it is good stuff. So, and it's one of the things, TLG, we do adventures. We don't do a lot of them. Most of what we do is source books, the mythology series, the adventurers backpack, all that other stuff. We have adventures to kind of, round things out. So this is going to be absolutely beautiful to watch this stuff come over.
No pressure, Laramie.
Get
Yeah,
good
right?
CNC
None.
courses. With
None.
adventures. Do what?
You said no pressure on me, right?
Yeah. But I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm writing the Codex of the Plains right now. And I haven't gotten to the elemental planes, but I do know that somewhere in all that mess is a city of brass. And I know that you guys got something to do with the city of brass. So just saying.
Yeah, that's right. We're curious about that. Yeah. There'll be some answers there.
I can take one of these questions. So what is the plan for Frog God Games? Are they supporting Castles and Crusades in 5e plus OSE, or just Castles and Crusades? It all depends on the product in question, which systems we want to do it in, because we want to make sure that the adventures that we do, the tome books like Tome of Horrors, Tome of Wondrous Items, are geared towards the right sort of system, what customers would like for that. But yes, we will be supporting Castles and Crusades, 5e, and OSE for the foreseeable future.
Steve,
They also said I've been mainly playing Swords and Wizardry. Swords and Wizardry has left us, sadly. I think that hopefully that answers the question.
somebody in the audience, I didn't catch who it was, asked, what's the best way to transition people into CNC from 5e? I bet you could take that, Troll Lord.
So we actually have Chuck and Jason have been working pretty hard on. We've got 2 documents we'll have up on the website very, very soon. One is a quick down and dirty cheat sheet that's just how to kind of jump over and how to be familiar with it from one to the other. Because CNC is not, as Ken has discovered, CNC is not a difficult system. The hardest thing you're going to run into when you're playing Castles and Crusades is adjusting your brain, and mostly for the players as much as the CK is adjusting the way you play and think, so that you start trying everything, even though it's not listed on your character as an ability or a feat or whatever game system you're coming over from. Once you kind of make that mental transition, the siege engine is it's relatively simple, and that's the attribute check system. But and I think we already sent this to the guys over at Frog God. Jason put us together a far more detailed conversion document that kind of explains everything, goes into DLs and the CLs and all of it, and how to convert it, and gives you several approaches to take, the whole 9 yards. And that will be up on their website. We would probably put it up this week or early next, but we have a new website kind of rolling out. We're overhauling the entire website. So I kind of want it to go with when we get, and it's more functional and easier to access. So we're going to give that all to you. The cheat sheet is 1 page long, and I think the other one, what is it, Chuck? 7 pages, 5 pages, something like that.
Yeah, it's a little more detailed, but the cheat sheet's awesome. It really does all you need. I mean, honestly, it's
The cheat sheet will get you started. You'll know real quickly how the siege engine works, and how to make that conversion. So
yeah, for sure. I think there's some more questions you were going to talk about, Ken. I jumped in there for a second. I shouldn't have. I apologize.
Let's see. Are you going to trick me into buying Rapid Athic again? Because 100% I will for the CNC version. We don't know yet.
That's a tough one, man.
But we just found out we will sell 1 copy at least, so that's a start. And, I don't know, Laramie. Can you think you get that converted for us by next week?
I got a pencil right here, buddy. I'll use it.
That would be an undertaking. That's just like me and Steve were talking a while back about Offstrag and bringing it to VTT. I don't know how that would be possible with those gigantic rooms. There's just no. The maps are like huge. Expedition of the Barrier Peaks or some shit. It's just massive, or something.
It's absolutely monsters.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I don't know. It's a good one though.
Yeah, that would take a lot of work, but
yeah, I think the answer is we're going to have to see. It depends a lot on what it looks like our market analysis says, because as much as we want to bring everything as possible to everyone in every system that we love, it comes down to we also have to make a profit, or we stop doing this. And this is quite honestly the best job I've ever had, and I don't want that to end.
That.
I'm not going to say we are converting Rapid Athic to Castles and Crusades, but I will say the conversation is being had. I'm not saying it's happening. Yeah. I'm not saying it's happening soon if it does happen, but it is something we would like to see. We will see when and if it happens.
So I want to say this to everyone out there watching. Chuck, if you can put that link back up. They're going to launch a campaign very soon for the first 2 adventures, converting over to from Frog God over to, or from whatever system they're in, I guess 5e to CNC. So sign up for this thing, jump on board as soon as they go live, and let's get it fired up.
Mm-hmm, for sure. Steve, I sent you a
question. And Casey and Levi are wonderful writers. I've never been disappointed with their work. In fact, I love their stuff enough that even though I don't have to pay for it, I usually go ahead and do, because I like to support them. I like to support their work.
True. Yeah, I was lauding
I
Casey's
still
work
use
in
the
Lord Gazumba's channel the other day. His urban stuff in Ascadia is just amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They'll use the Orcus pumpkin cutout. Will you make a Frog God game one? I'm not familiar with the Orcus pumpkin cutout.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it either. That would be funny to imagine that. We need a troll and Orcus carrying a pumpkin, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. I was hoping someone would recognize that, because I started at Frog God in 2010 and then left for a little bit to go over to Cubicle 7 for a few years, then came back. So I was like, oh, is that when I was gone? And apparently no one knows what the Orcus pumpkin cutout is.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good one.
I wonder if that's from the Necromancer days. That would predate.
It's got to be. That's the Orcus logo, right? I mean, surely they did something with.
Yeah.
Those were.
I mean, because when I think of Orcus, I think of Christmas now. So
that's right, from your Christmas adventure last year.
Yeah, Varsuk is saying looks like it's from the Necro days.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
those early years from 2000 to about 2004 were pretty crazy years. They were nuts.
You could go to, we had a Wizard of the Coast store at the mall, and you could go and see 20 titles and go 2 weeks later, and there'd be 20 totally different titles.
It was absolutely
Nuts.
crazy.
We're always buying stuff.
And the
All
cool
time.
thing is, and this is one of the things, I actually missed this. It only really happened at Origins, a little bit at Gen Con, but there was this, because there were so many publishers, there was this, and we were all new to it, right? We didn't know what the hell we were doing. There was this energy going on. We all gathered in restaurants and bars. There would be tables of, 25 people sitting there eating and drinking and yakking about whatever. So there's this energy back then, but there was so much crazy going on, crazy ideas, Orcus pumpkin cutouts, whatever.
Well, my during the early days of the D20 boom, I was working as a field archaeologist, and I was being paid somewhat under the table for my per diem. So I was getting cash on the barrelhead every Monday and told, this is your eating expense for the week while you're in the field. So I'd eat cheap, and then every Friday I'd take that money down to the local game store, and there'd be 20 new titles to pick up for 3.0, 3.5, and you just start mashing them together because they're the same thing. And next thing you know, you sit down to your Sunday game, and you got a kobold gangster, and you've got a gray alien barbarian from who knows where, and everything's just starting to get kind of crazy, and there's no boundaries. And
yeah, it got nuts. I remember too when John Nephew over at Atlas Games, I'm not sure if he's still in charge or not, but he caught me at Gamma Trade Show. This is going to be 2003, maybe 2004, maybe March 2004. I can't remember. Probably 03. But he said to me, he goes, "Steve, are you bracing for the crash that's coming?" And things were selling like crazy. And I was like, "What are you talking about, John?" And I'm brand new to it. And he explained to me the whole where we were headed. And he was not wrong, because about a year after that, the crash hit, and it hit so fast. It was nuts. Well, there you go. And those 20 titles, every time you went to the game store, came to a screeching halt. But interestingly, out of that, we started Castles and Crusades because I knew John, and I knew how good of a businessman he is and was. When I went back after GTS, that's when I talked to Davis and Mac and said, "Hey, look, we need to do something to cushion ourselves a little bit for a potential crash." And they started working on Castles and Crusades.
Right. I got an interesting question for you, Steve. It's about CNC. All right.
All righty.
Why did you change grappling and overbearing in the 8th printing of the PHB from base AC 15 plus strength bonus plus dex bonus and -2 attack if held, first printing through 7th to normal AC, no restriction to attack if held? Are you trying to be more like 5e?
No, we're not trying to be more like 5e. So yes, King Kothar, we did change that. So there's a couple of reasons for that. I can't remember when Mac originally designed the combat system, and it's a lot like the Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition. We took it on the OGL, ascending armor class, all that stuff. His original notes on hand-to-hand combat was what you see in the adventure, or what you see in the 8th printing now. Very simple punch. You roll to hit. If you hit, you do 1 to 2 points of damage, and you move on. And that wove in very nicely with the way I run combats. I run extremely fast combats. I don't linger on stuff. I don't want to have facing and hexes and all. I don't want any of that stuff. So when he originally designed that, he cut all of that out and made it very simple. And somewhere, it was either Davis or there was another fellow doing a little bit of work. This slightly more complicated but more realistic system got put in there. And the standard rule for the player's handbook, if you read any rule in that book, Davis or Mac wrote it, and they sent it to me via email. And if I could read it, I do not like reading rules. It makes me a little irritated to have to read a rule. So if I could read it in one pass and understand it, then it went in the book. If not, I kicked it back to them. They had to make it simpler. Well, I never read those rules and the encumbrance rules, which are a little bit cumbersome. And then so 7 printings later, I think we put the one that's in the 8th printing in the Adventurer's backpack. I'm almost 90% certain we did. I rewrote it because I have so many fights. People drop weapons all the time, and my players are constantly swinging with their fists or trying to tackle or trip or something. That I needed something fast, so I went back to Mac's original, took his notes, cleaned it up, put it in the Adventures backpack, and then quietly swapped it out in the 8th printing, hoping no one would notice. But clearly someone did. But it really was to streamline and make that easier and fit more with the philosophy of CNC that is fast paced. And if you want it to have more crunch, and for those of you not familiar with Castles and Crusades, the game is very simple, but if you want more crunch to it, you can very easily take any crunch from any game system, attach it to the top of the Siege engine, and you're good to go.
Very true.
I hope that answers the question.
No, I convert systems all the time. Hell, I run Fallout RPG with the Siege system. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, Todd Gray refuses. We started a game back in 1984, and he and I have played it ever since. And it was AD&D, and he refuses to switch that to Castles and Crusades when we play it. We don't play it often, but we do. He wants to do it AD&D, but I just do the Siege engine in AD&D. I just stuck it into whatever, it's attribute checks.
Well, that's one way of doing it for sure. I had another one for you, Steve, but I don't.
Well, here's a question for you, Steve. Came up in my at Siege Engine, my Amazing Adventures game this week. A pot of beans taken off a stove. That would be an improvised weapon.
Absolutely.
So I love a -4 to hit. Does that sound fair?
So they grab the pot of beans and they just swing with it. Try to
They
hit someone?
swang with it at the person sneaking up behind them. So I leveled a -4 penalty to hit, and I said the pot itself is a D4 damage, and an extra D4 damage for the boiling beans.
Nice.
That's pretty awesome. Now that's a spirit.
Beat them to death. I probably wouldn't have given them a minus, maybe a -1, maybe a -2. But yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And that's the way to do it, though. I mean, and that's the joy of Castles and Crusades, and which will be so nice when we see the Frog God Adventures, because there's going to be crazy stuff in it where you're going to have to grab a pot of beans and beat someone to death with it. And that's absolutely, I will absolutely love that stuff. And that's what I want when I'm running a game or in a game. I love it when it's that fluid, and CNC hopefully lets people, be that fluid.
So I got a question for Ken. He's brought a good option here about beans to the table. How would you handle seasickness? One of the people in the audience asked about that.
How would I handle seasickness in Castles and Crusades?
Yeah.
I think I would just make it a Constitution check. Constitution save. I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask. I come from a Navy family. I happen to not get seasick. My father doesn't get seasick. My sister doesn't get seasick. My grandparents didn't get seasick. So my son's never gotten seasick on a boat. I think my wife did once, but I think I was watching the dolphins and ignoring her, which is why she was upset. But the point is, I don't understand seasickness very well. It's a thing that happens to other people. So I think, Constitution. CL0, so no modifier.
So here,
Or maybe just make it a.
I did whale watching once long ago, and we're off the coast of Oregon, huge waves, so that when the boat went between these two waves, it would be like a trough where you couldn't see, the waves are above it. And I was sitting inside something, the cabin, I'm not sure where I was, but I was getting sick as all hell. And the captain told me to get out and go stand outside in the fresh air, and it would go away. And sure enough, within like a minute, once I got outside of the cabin, it subsided. I don't know. It's really weird. Yeah. Maybe a bonus if you're outside. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about the ocean.
So
when you're talking about,
I'm not 100%, but I think it has a lot less to do with the sea air, and the more the fact that the gyroscopic mechanism inside your ears trying to reach equilibrium, and you're moving. You're seeing the horizon, so now your balance is matched to the horizon instead of the motion of the boat. It has less to do with the air. Otherwise, you could just breathe canned air. But no, it's because you're seeing the horizon.
Michael, you just mentioned earlier about
Yeah,
some
I don't know.
things.
I mean, when you're talking about being in the trough of the wave and you can look up and the wave's taller than the boat to the bow and the stern, that's usually, it seemed to be when I was growing up, the time my dad said, "Hey, crawl out on the bowsprit and go fix the jib." So
Thanks, Dad.
Michael, you had a couple things you wanted to share
Thanks,
earlier
Dad.
talking about, right?
Yeah, Steve was talking about how quick his combats are, how he doesn't like a long drawn out combat. He likes them quick and easy. And I got to see that in person. I actually got to meet Steve in 2011. I think it was February at TrollCon East at All Things Fun in Berlin, New Jersey, which is about 25 minutes from here. And Ed Edwards is a great guy.
Yes.
The owner, he and his wife, they're just great folks. Just sad that they had to close the store twice now, but the store was amazing. And I didn't get in to play, but I got down there. I was able to sneak away because my wife and I were newly married. I got to sneak away, and I got to see Steve in action as Castle Keeper, and just I think it was a group of 8, and just watching him handle a group that big of people you don't have a rapport with, because it's a con and not your normal gaming group, but to be able to, instead of every time somebody rolled a die, it was you hit, roll for damage. It was okay. So, you lash out, you strike, it's just all these descriptive words. I'm like, I've got a good vocabulary, but when it comes time to run a game, it leaves my head. And just watching Steve do that, it was really cool. And then the other point was back on the Troll Lord forums. I had used Castles and Crusades. I distilled it down real easy. My son was struggling learning the alphabet. He was 2 or 3. And I put on the forums this idea I came up with where he had his fighter, Wamport, fighting against these creatures that were arriving, and each one was on a block. I put them on alphabet blocks, and he had to name their true name, and they would just disappear. Otherwise, Wamport had to fight them. So if he didn't name the letter, then he'd have to fight the monsters.
Cool.
So, Wamport Braun is now in the NPC Almanac that you guys released.
That
And
was awesome.
and my son will be turning 20 in 12 days.
That's awesome.
So that's how far back I go with CNC.
There he is. I got him right here.
Yeah.
You can tell I've been working. So I
That
actually use
is
these books
actually
for work.
very, very cool.
Working.
Oh yeah.
all right, I see a question that's been asked twice. Is Frog God going to publish CNC conversions on VTTs? Yes, most likely. We're still trying to work with the fine folks at Troll Lord to figure out how exactly that mechanism is going to occur. So that's the best answer I can.
We'd still like to. Obviously, that's a very time-intensive process. I will say that it does help that we have Castles and Crusades already has a really good rule set for, I know at least for Fantasy Grounds out there, which helps a lot that they got a brand new shiny rule set for us to play with. So again, no promises. We're trying, we're working on it. But again, small companies and limited hours, but it is a work in progress and we're trying.
Yep. That's a good answer.
Yep. That's those
When Laramie got been converting,
we're all still learning.
converting what? Rapid Athens? They want now?
There you go,
Jesus.
wrapping that.
Yeah, well, Larry, get right on that. No, and we're working really hard on getting Roll20 up, and the Foundry team's doing really good. We've got Shard on the horizon, so I think a year from now we're going to be in a really good place with BTT market. I think.
I just want to say this to the whole VT2 community, to whoever developed this stuff. When Bill Webb and I are talking about publishing books, we say books, right? It's a book. We're publishing a book. But over the VTT, every platform has a different language.
It's insane.
Trying to figure out this is a character sheet. Just get one language. It'll make it easier on old publishers.
Okay, question from Varsuk. I asked this before, but you didn't know early on. For those of us that bought the TLG FG rule set, I can answer this, Varsuk. Is there any plan? There is no way. Let me see it. Rule set and adventures. Is there any way plan for Migration Scout to move the new one to Forge? That is out of our control. In fact, That's one of the reasons why we moved from the Smartworks store, because we had no control. Now we have some control. And there is no way at all to do that. We tried, and the only way we could possibly do it is if we hired someone to sit in front of the computer and try to send everyone individually, one at a time, some sort of crazy coupon. It's just, and then I'm not even sure if we can actually use coupons on the Forge. It's very complicated over there. I don't mean to be negative, but it's the truth. And I'd rather just be honest with you about it and tell you I wish we could. That's why we put the new rule set up for free. It's for free on there. And we try to keep things, around the $10 margin if we can, except for the core books and stuff, of course. But it's about the best we can do. Me and Steve Lang, we talked about this for months trying to find a solution, but there just wasn't one. It's just not.
Yeah, that and I'll say, Chuck, you went above and beyond to try to get that fixed, and I was the one that finally pulled it and said, we can't.
Yeah, I tried, and he finally just come in and hacked the limb off, and that was the end of that. Yeah, and that's what I did. I waited till the Christmas. Actually, the best time to buy them is during Christmas. I'll tell you why that is. Oh wait, that's wrong. Never mind. That's I was thinking about the old Smartworks store. Just forget what I said, Varsuk. I was about to say something that was
God,
wrong.
we're almost to Christmas, aren't we? Good heaven.
Yes, we are. Which we got to. Yeah. I can't believe. In fact, we were talking today, and Steve was talking about something. I was like, "Wait, is it September?"
Yeah.
Like, God, please stop the time. It's like, man,
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Brenda Wolf says, "Buying once was so fun. The second time will be even more so."
It's the truth. It is. Well, it's always fun buying things over. I mean, who hasn't done that? I know I have. I got a bookshelf back here of all kinds of stuff in the same book. It's pretty funny, actually. So, I wonder what is the most replicated adventure of all time through rule systems. I wonder what that would be. You would assume it would be like
B2.
Would be what?
You said it. B2. Keep on the Borderlands.
That's probably I guess.
Just because it was in the box sets for so long, and three different types of box sets.
That's a
Yeah,
great.
that's
See,
true.
someone with some sense about it. I would have said something dumb like Isle of Dread, since that's my favorite.
Can't go wrong with dinosaurs.
A lot of
That's always
characters.
a good guess.
Yeah, a lot of characters on that one. They've met fate on that island, that's for sure. Not Tumaharas. I love Tumaharas. That's actually, Greenwood's got a point. Tumaharas has been redone a lot too, actually. Because it's supposed to
I've
be
never made it more than like 20 minutes in that module.
No one does. Actually, if you read the back of it, there's no end. It just says,
Well, there you go.
it just, oh my God, No, it's
The
kind of
back
like
was
it,
just a
though.
bunch of blank pages. You can fill it in as you go.
That was B1 actually.
I love B1. One of my favorite modules.
Oh, my character's still alive in your Tumaharas game at Blue Box. Oh, is it really? Well, we'll fix that up soon. That's about time for
Laramie's off.
Oh Lord, here we go. Back to his bookcase of eons of books.
The librarian.
Oh yeah.
What is that thing?
There was a great
Oh, the Hackmaster.
This is
Oh,
the
wow.
Hackmaster resource.
Nice.
keyboard.
Oh,
This
nice.
is fun. Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Castle Zygig case felt like B1. Yes. Yeah, they did. God, don't even get me started on Zygig. I miss it so much. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someday,
Sad days.
after a post-apocalyptic thing happens and there's no more lawyers, we can do what we want. So
There you go.
Yep. Oh yeah. Was it Lori McVitie sent me back the paperwork I had forwarded her because I had to resign my position doing my sector Rivergate in Zagig in
Really?
Eggsboro rather.
interesting.
So I reconnected with her and Don, and she sent me back the stuff that I had put together for the Eggsboro project. I thought it was really nice because I had to resign because of my first wife's health when she got sick. But yeah, that was it's a shame to see where that went, but I've met some great people through it. I mean, just Jeff Galanian, obviously
Good dude.
Steve, that Mr. Gygax guy, just some really great folks that were on that project.
Gary put together a fantastic team, and I gotta say that Yigsburg to this day is one of my favorite published RPG things of all time. And it's not just because Troller Games did it, but Gary did a masterful job creating that. And then his vision to take that city and have you guys flesh out each neighborhood of the city was brilliant. and it was going to make an environment that was unmatched anywhere. That could have, and his vision was that he could have switched into multi what those MMORs, whatever those damn things are called, video games, all kinds of stuff. He had huge stuff planned for it. Absolutely fantastic. It was. We won't go into it. This isn't the platform for that, but there was a lot of sadness, a lot of not good that came out of that 208.
No, but you guys have done a great job of restructuring and carrying on his legacy with the stuff that you've put out since. I mean, you really have.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
He is never far from my thought. I will tell you that. At least
We
once
talk
a
about
week.
him all the time, don't we, Steve? All the time.
Yep.
It's really cool.
He's
actually.
always, what would Gary do, or how would Gary handle this, or what? And you were talking earlier about your vocabulary. My gaming vocabulary went through the roof when I started editing his books. Those Gygaxian Fantasy World books.
Yeah.
Because Gary's vocabulary, of course, was gigantic, and now it's very honed in on an RPG environment. I remember because everyone was commenting at my tale and said, "Man, your vocabulary." Thank Gary for it.
Yeah. Yep. I'm fine writing and reading. It's the at the table trying to come up with a way of describing someone smashing someone with a mace. Not always,
Or a pot of beans. I mean, there's that. It happens.
I forgot the pile of hot beans. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. Well, and I've got the fun thing that I've got a slight aphasia. So sometimes I'll just completely lose a word. And most of my players, they've been my friends for a decade or more. They just start shouting out words, hoping they find the right one.
That's awesome. It's like Family Feud.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm like, and then the orc comes up behind you and smacks, stabs.
A little more interactive.
Yes, that one. That's a good one.
It's not good when they do that with names. It's not good when they do that with NPC names. Don't let them do it to NPC names.
Well, I mean, that's an entirely different thing. With the work I did on Rocket Age, it's been pointed out to me, did you try and actually pronounce any of the Martian when you wrote it? I was like, no, why would I? Oh. Yeah, we're going to change that in the next printing. That's not going to stay.
I lost who the question came from because it scrolled up, but question from the crowd. Does the Frog God Games Troll Lord Games team up mean that past Frog God content will be converted, or are we talking about new products going forward? And the answer is a very emphatic yes. So to clarify that, since those were two different questions and I said yes to it all, we are planning on trying to do as much Castle and Crusade stuff going forward. And we are doing some back stuff as well. I'm currently finishing up work on our upcoming Indiegogo plug for Heresy of Rot and Fungus God from Outer Space, our creature double feature. And when I'm done with that, I've actually got a couple of older modules that might be related to those two modules. They might be Horrors from Hagjaw, which happens before Heresy of Rot, and it might be Encephalon Gorgers from the Moon, which might be before the Fungus God from Outer Space. I might be converting those two, for example.
Exactly.
So just, as a possibility. We are going to try to do as much as we can forward. We're going to be trying to do a bunch of it going backward. I am not the guy who knows about printing and publishing and PDFs and all that stuff. So I don't know what format everything's going to be available and for sale in, if it's going to be print on demand, if it's going to be PDF. I don't know how we're doing it. I don't think we even know how we're doing it necessarily yet, because we're just kind of getting this ball rolling down the hill. But the short answer is yes, we're doing it. We don't know exactly how and when and all. If there are requests, I do take requests. Email Michael. Just fill up his email box. He has nothing to
say, are you nuts? Wow.
My email is Laramie at.
There you go.
To expand on that, we are, going forward, definitely, and as I said earlier, it depends on the product and what we think. Different systems have their own different fan bases, their own different styles, so we kind of try and match that up. We are going to try and bring some of our older stuff into Castles and Crusades while we're forging ahead with the new stuff. But even when we bring some of our older stuff in, like the upcoming Northland Saga, when I sat down to do Spears in the Ice and Spring Rites to bring them up into 5e and Castles and Crusades and such, I didn't just go, okay, well, let's just convert them. As the original author, I sat and went, okay, I wrote this 10 years ago. One will make it better, and went through line by line and fixed it. Made it better, made it enhanced version. And with those, we're putting those all together in a series. Whereas before they were more episodic, now they're episodes of a larger story arc. So we're not just bringing something and converting it up. We're making whatever changes we feel, if changes need to be made to the product, to update it, to make it better, improve it in some way. So I hope that Laramie and I have answered that question for you with our vague ramblings.
Well, can I throw in a request to Frog God?
Yes.
So it's one of you.
Sure,
older
of
book,
course.
fantastic module. I hadn't ran it forever and a day, but Vampires and Liches. It's a Casey Christopherson book. It was a fantastic. Still is it? I'm sure. Still is a
that's a good one.
fantastic.
Well, there he
Love it.
goes. He's hunting.
My wife is fairly new to the hobby, and I have that one. And when she decided to start playing, she wanted everything vampire, so like everything that had Strahd or Ravenloft. And then I said, well, here here's Frog God's take on Vampires and Liches. So had to explain what Liches were. But after that, she was on it. So she actually does Frog God's social media now. So it's cool having somebody who's in the same house. Like, hey, can we tweet, or can we get that Facebook, or what do you need from me? So let's be honest, it's actually her coming to me like, I need this, I need this, I need this. So
So
it's
she just
awesome.
basically took it and said, "Too bad." Pretty much.
Well, Mike, what that means is you've created a certain amount of synergy in your home.
we have. And in fact, if I may, Wamport is one of our interns now. So
There you go.
So he does a lot of our collating and just gathering, because you've got hundreds of books in our library, and we want fans that are they're playing Castle Crusades, they're playing other games that we didn't write for back then, that we would like to bring forward.
Yeah.
So we have him bringing out old monsters, old spells, old NPCs, old settlements even, and trying to bring those forward so we can use them again for this generation of gaming.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good.
Yeah,
it's
I
good.
can't stress the volume of material that Frog God and Necromancer have put out. It is, for those of you not familiar with the companies, it is nothing short of stupefying. And I know this because Troller Games has a print shop. We print a lot of our own stuff, and for a while, we printed Frog God's game stuff, and the material that rolled through. And this was after Necromancer games, and I remember Necromancer back in the day. So it is. You guys have an absolutely monstrous library. Was that a pun? That might have been a pun.
It is part of
That was a good
First
pun.
time.
Yes,
Borderline.
that's a guy gaxing thing too.
You
Well
could
done,
even
Steve.
say
We're getting close to the.
you could
end.
even say we produce quite a few tomes.
There you go.
Oh, don't start that. The tomes and the tomb. Oh my God. Holy
Oh,
cow.
yeah,
That gets crazy. So we're getting near the end here. Is there anything else you guys want to bring up or talk about real quick? I want to mention a few things of what's going on with us afterwards before we sign off. So I was going to give you guys the floor and talk about whatever. Like looks like Laramie's either doing hockey or something. I don't know what you're doing. MCA. I'm not sure.
This is a goal in hockey. You point down at where it went in the net. That's a goal. I'm going to just throw out there, looking at the text chat, seeing everybody for the folks that are over on Trollord's Discord and Frog God's Discord. I am really hyped that everybody's excited for this as I am. Again, I've been a Castle Crusades guy for a while. I'm really glad that other people are looking forward to Frog God Games conversions over there. The guy doing the conversions is not above taking hints and suggestions. He's kind of an idiot. So if you got anything you want to help him out with, go and let me know. Seriously,
He's
I'm glad
working a sales pitch.
Yeah, I'm glad everybody's excited. Man, I'm hyped. The first two adventures we got that are going to drop are great. I'm looking forward to running them. They're both phenomenal read. So I hope it's going to be as great as I think it is.
Fair enough.
Well, I want to throw out there, I am, when this was first broached months ago, I was super excited. Of course, we've kept it under wraps and letting all the fine tuning occur. And we've still got a little bit of fine tuning, but that's to be expected with companies like this. But I can't express how freaking awesome this is. I'm super stoked.
Well, Yeah, on that note, you need to take a drink. Someone spent points for you to take a drink of Dr. Pepper.
Ah, sweet.
And
Punish me.
secondly, someone out there, evidently the word synergy has spread to the chat. So there's several titles with the word synergy. I'm like Synergy of the Lost Tombs or Tome of the
There you
Synergistic
go.
Aura. How you like that?
Yeah, we can synergize all the tomes into one product. The Tome of Wondrous Horrors of Alchemy's Lost Spells.
There you go.
There you go. That's perfect. And
Mike,
put it
you
in
had
a
something?
tomb, some adventure that has a tomb in it, and then we got chaos. So
Yeah.
The Tomb of Tomes.
there you go.
There it is.
We're
The
golden.
Tome of
Instead of
Tombs.
bodies, it's books.
Yeah, it's just full of books.
Dude, so
It's
that's what we
Laramie's
gotta do.
basement.
We gotta make a page somewhere on the websites, whatever they're called, that has all of the CNC Frog God stuff, and it's the Tomb of Tombs. You can go, you can go and purchase it. There you go.
Don't you have a sale coming up, Michael?
Yeah, we have a Back to Ghoul sale coming up. Well, it'll be on drive-through.
Lord have mercy.
We're going to have two, actually. We're going to run one for Frog God Games, and they're going to have one for Necromancer Games because gamers seem to get geared up now that they're not going on vacation. The kids are back in school. It seems to be a tradition that the gamers get back together more often once summer's ended. So since we're right on the cusp of that, because I know the East Coast, they start going back to school after Labor Day. I know the South and Midwest started going sooner, but so my wife and I are putting that together on drive-through. So that should launch hopefully this weekend. There was some glitches with it, but my first time doing it, I admit. So getting that set up, and that'll be out. You'll see it on Twitter, Facebook, on our Necromancer and Frog God appearances on those, all over social media.
Definitely tag the trolls in your sale. Tag us
Yeah,
and
for sure. Hit us up. For
Cool,
sure.
we'll do. I'll let the social media manager know.
I don't know who. That's all of us, I think. I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Tim, sometimes it's Steve at 3 a.m. It's whatever.
Yeah.
So we have tonight, for everybody that's watching, we have a partner streamer that's going to be running. She's running a new game of Castles and Crusades for us. Her name's Scarlet64. I got the link in the chat if you guys want to come over and give her a follow. It starts at 9:30 Eastern tonight, 6:30 Pacific. And she's taking them through the A series, and she's completely changing how the story goes. Completely. I mean,
Completely.
the group
Awesome.
literally killed the Baron last week, or Baron, and now they've taken over Botgenburg, and they're the Barons. It's not part of the story, so it's pretty insane. But that's a good time if you guys want to check that out tonight. We'll be doing a bunch of giveaways.
It's a lot of
over there.
fun to watch.
Yep. We're gonna give away 2 box sets of the All Shadows of Ostreg. We're gonna give away like a bunch of PDFs and stuff. It'll be good. It'll be good times. So go by if you can and see them. Give her a follow. It would be really great. And you know what, Steve? Something else we need to share. We're talking about all this craziness stuff going on. We have a new Indiegogo in the works as well. This is for the Amazing Adventures revamp that's coming up. I put the link in there. Steve, tell them about it.
So, Amazing Adventure, we've had this game out forever and a day. It's written by Jason Vey, who has his own company, L-Player Game. Amazing Adventures is the siege engine, but for multi-genre. It covers pulp, horror, science fiction, all of that other stuff. Castles and Crusades is fantasy. Amazing Adventures is all the rest. And I guess the second printing is about sold out, and it is time to completely overhaul. The system's going to stay the same. It's going to be the same game. So if you've got earlier versions of AA, you're good to go. But we're going to do 3 volumes, a player's book, a Castle Chronicler's book, and then a monster book. It'll be full color, give them the whole treatment that Castles and Crusades has enjoyed for the past few years. And we were doing that one on Indiegogo, actually, not Kickstarter this time. We're doing a full-fledged game system on Indiegogo. So please give us a follow there. It'll launch in the next few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a good
Big-
system.
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's good. I think that's all we've got for today. We've spent a little time over, so we're good to go. Anything nice parting words from anybody? Steve, Mike, any guys?
I just want to thank the Frog Gods for joining us today. And thanks again for considering CNC for the vehicle to bring your modules to the mayhem of the gamer's table.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very
for
much.
having us on.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys coming on. We appreciate all the viewers that showed up here. After I saw who was going to be on the stream, I was a little worried there wouldn't be anybody here. So I brought Michael in to kind of help bring some folks in, and it worked out really well. Thank you so much, guys. Great. I think that's all we got. I think we're going to scoot on out of here. But again, just want to thank everybody for showing up, and we will see you guys later tonight. Oh, let me add a little tidbit to this. I don't know if this is going to happen or not, so I didn't put it out there on social media, but there is a rumor going around that Steve's brother Davis may stream tonight while he's working on the new Arms and Armor book, and basically listen in on Scarlett's CNC game and comment on it while he's writing. So if that happens, I'll run the stream over here for him, and we'll have a link up so you can watch both of them at the same time, which will be kind of cool. So
It's like MST3K with Davis. Nice.
kind of. Hopefully, we'll see. It should be interesting if he makes it. He's typically asleep that time of the day. He goes to bed he's like a vampire basically. So
And he goes to bed about 6 or 5 in the afternoon, and then gets up at about 2 in the morning and works until.
So MST Davis. Yeah. No, all right. Well, that's all we got. I just want to thank everybody again for coming out and seeing us. We will see you guys later, hopefully. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks again, Frogs.
Thanks all. Thanks for joining us.